They start level after the goalless first leg a fortnight ago in Turin. At stake now a place in the last four of the European Cup Winners' Cup. Without doubt, the biggest night of the season here at Highbury. Sit back and enjoy it all live here on ITV. Good evening. Joining us tonight is the Sheffield Wednesday manager, Trevor Francis, a man who knows a thing or two about football Italian style. Trevor, there's a warning here for Arsenal, isn't there? 2 seasons ago, they drew at Benfica and then lost 3-1 here at Highbury. Can it happen again?
Well, it can happen, but I think that the Benfica team, from an attacking point of view, are much stronger than Torino. I don't think Torino feature in the top 6 amongst the best Italian teams, but they do defend well. And I think it would be wrong if Arsenal feel that they've done the hard work over in Turin. I think that Turin would try and play on the counter-attack. As we saw this now, they've got Silenzi, who's an excellent forward. And just behind him, Francescoli will play, a very, very clever player. So I think that Arsenal will win.
OK, that's him putting his head on the block. Let's hope so. Let's check now on the teams with our commentators, Ron Atkinson, who's with Brian Moore.
Good evening to everybody from the commentary position. Let me just go through the teams for you. George Graham said yesterday that Ian Wright would play to provide a much-needed cutting edge, of course. He'll play alongside Alan Smith, and I fancy Paul Merson too, seeking those priceless goals. Kevin Campbell on the subs bench tonight. David Hillier, Paul Davis and John Jensen did so well in the midfield in Turin. It's little wonder that they and the usual back four are retained. Well, Torino have key defender Enrico Annoni back. He missed the first leg through injury. Now he's a marker, and Wright, I'm sure, will be his target for tonight. It's a surprise that the Yugoslav left-back Robert Jani has been dropped. They'll look, I think, as Trevor Francis said, to do their damage on the break. Francescoli and Silenzi will certainly need some careful watching. Terrific atmosphere here at Highbury, I must say, a full house. And the substitutes, as is usual in European games, any 2 from the 5 that are named. And a referee tonight comes from Holland, and the 2 officials as well. It's John Blankenstein. Ron Atkinson alongside me. Ron?
Yeah, we showed on our capture, we showed David Hillier actually on the left side of midfield. I think you'll find he'll sit just in front of the 2 centre-backs, and he'll have the responsibility of going out and closing down Francescoli, who's a little bit short of... I don't think George Graham will want his centre-back to step out and mark Francescoli, so I think that young lad will get the job.
He had a terrific game in a difficult atmosphere in Turin. He didn't play. Wasn't happy about it. George Graham said he wasn't fit, but he's fit tonight. And Silenzi, the big number 9, standing 6'4", is certainly back in form. 15 goals this season, 2 of them just 2 days ago against Highbury. This was the latest victory for Torino. Arsenal in yellow tonight. Up goes Alan Smith. Tonight, and Arsenal will either stride towards more European glory, or, heaven forbid, step on that footballing banana skin just as they did against Benfica a couple of seasons ago. Remember, they drew in Lisbon in that particular contest, and then were really outclassed here. George Graham says that Arsenal are much more experienced now. They will not make that mistake again. But here's a free kick to Torino, and it's Annoni with it. Little chip there towards Tony Adams, meat and drink for him, that sort of thing. Playing it in again, and this time Jensen battling to get it away. Wright gets the first touch. That was a nice touch as well to Smith. Smith not quite being able to reach Dixon, but Dixon went snapping there on Musti. Musti again, used to play for Milan. There's a lot of quality. Down goes Fusi, the captain, who played as a sweeper in the first leg, but he's gone into the midfield. And it's Fortunato. There's Fusi. That was a rather high challenge on Francescoli by Adams, the Uruguayan. And there's Fortunato going forward, but in fact starting not in the midfield as he did in Turin, but as the sweeper tonight. Well, Arsenal have conceded a free kick. I would hope they don't do that too often in and around their penalty area, because the Italians could be deadly in this sort of situation. Francescoli curling it high towards Seaman, gathers it well. A little throw out to Merson. A flick on by him. Winterburn ahead of him, and plenty of space up there too. Wright is in there too. Jensen's coming in as well, but Merson with the shot, getting overexcited. Jensen had made a terrific breakthrough to the edge of the box. Bright opening, Ron.
Yes, but a good clearance by Agnoni, and I think you find straight away, you're right, he's going to be the shadow, isn't he? They're going to play with a sweeper, as you said, Fortunato, deep at the back. He'll have quality on the ball, but they're going to play with three markers across the back. Agnoni is going to be sort of side by side with Ian Wright. Then Gregucci will look after, in all fairness, the top will look after Alan Smith. And the other one is Sandy Coyce will look after Merson.
Arsenal looking in these early moments really to impose themselves on this game. They're taking the fight. Well, they need to. They're the home side. To the Italians. Here's Steve Bowles. Tony Adams. Jensen. The only British side left in European competition this season. Francescoli. Swiftly challenged there by David Hillier. Torres with the throw. Another of these players they'll have to watch drive through from the midfield. And certainly Francescoli is the subject of some pretty harsh tackling in these opening 3 or 4 minutes. Another free kick. Fortunato will take it. Came so close to scoring the only goal of the game in Turin. It finished 0-0, remember. Francescoli gets in there. Understanding two Italians went for that one. Winterburn, the chance to look down the line and find Merson. A lot of pace about this game early on. This is Salensi. Needs to be watched. The ball knocked back to Seaman. Fortunato. Whiskey gets up. Challenged by Jensen. Dixon.
Dixon and Winterburn are going to be very important as an attacking role for There's no real width in the side. Merson and Wright are going to sort of drive and channel a little bit towards Smith. It's very important. They're not enough to wide midfield play. I think it's very important that both Dixon and Winterburn get a bit high up the park and produce balls into the box from there.
Two good touches there by Hillier. Here's one by Jensen. Here's Smith. Merson. Coyce. Forward to Salensi. They must be so wary, Arsenal, on the break. You just got the slightest glimpse there of how quickly they come out of defence, Torino. Jensen, caught there by Musi. A free kick to Arsenal.
I certainly think George Graham will be looking in the early part of the game to try and get the Arsenal way going, to get plenty of corners, plenty of free kicks in the top half of the field, build up momentum, build the crowd up, and try and test the nerve of the Italians.
Merson, switching from one side of the field to the other now. Goal kick.
Well, certainly the three front players are going to have to move about an awful lot. If they stand still, if they're static, that's food and drink to Italian markers. They love that. Movement, and they're going to have to make a lot of, if you like, selfless runs where they're not always going to get the ball, but runs sometimes where they're going to have to open spaces for other players.
Adams going for this one. Got there before Salensi. Musi. Sinigalia. Quite a severe haircut since the first leg. Salensi, who hasn't. Good work by Dixon. Dixon had a very shaky first 10 minutes, actually, in Turin. And Yanni, who's not playing tonight, might have caught him a couple of times, but he certainly seems to be on top of his game at the moment. Some sharp tackling there by the Arsenal fullback. Uzi. Space here for a shot, maybe. Charged down not by 1, 2, but 3 Arsenal players. Paul Davis amongst them. Dixon. Sweeping the ball to Winterburn. Foul on him by Fortunato. 28 goals this season. Now the Arsenal fans will be looking for him to make it 29 or even 30 tonight. Free kick with Davis behind it, Hillier behind it, Winterburn behind it, Smith ahead of it. Paul Davis. Chip into the box there. Adams had gone in there. Toyce gets it away. Now Winterburn being challenged by Francescoli. Possibly unnerved by him a little bit there. He had so much time, too much time. Venturin, here's the break again by Torino. Davis trying to hold him up. A neat little midfield player is Venturin, but in the end Arsenal got it away. But again an example of how quickly they break, Ron.
Yes, he sprinted out there, didn't he? An attacking ploy for Arsenal. You've got all the big defenders push forward, and then you saw Francescoli come out and pressurise Winterburn. I think a little bit of nerves for Winterburn, and he didn't fancy it too much.
Absolutely. Maybe he had a bit too much time to think about Francescoli coming at him.
I think if that had been a lead game or anything else, he'd have swept it to one side, pull it down and passed it. You know, the importance of the situation. They can't afford to get caught in the break. They can't afford to concede a goal because they know it will be difficult. I mean, the Italian side is actually loaded, isn't it, with defensive type players.
Valenci poised for this one. Gregucci's in there as well. The big defender can be always very difficult from these sort of situations, but it's a threat to Arsenal. We were saying before the start there didn't seem to be a lot of atmosphere, but my goodness, it's warmed up now.
Picked up the minute the teams came out, didn't it? That was smashing. I mean, you're looking here now, superb stadium. I mean, our stadiums now are as good as most, aren't they? And the pitch, this Arsenal ground is terrific.
Yes, all credit to the ground staff working here. They were telling me until 2 in the morning after the Italians had trained on it last night. So good pitch here, and it's brought about by some hard work by a lot of men behind the scenes. Throw it in, which Anoni will take. The left knee of his very heavily strapped, and it was a knee injury that caused him to miss the first leg of this game. All just looping out of play. Arsenal's throw. Very heavily strapped, but he's a tough character. And he's essential on this particular night to look after Ian Wright. And there, wherever Wright goes tonight, the man with the bandage will be right behind him. Another free kick to Arsenal.
A little bit ironic, that isn't it? It's not very often you see a continental player pick his foot up like that. It's normally our trademark, isn't it? A British trademark, picking his foot up the ground like that.
Hillier in the spot of bother. Italians played, remember, just 48 hours ago. The victory over Cagliari. Taking to 6th in the table. They've really got no chance for the championship. Of course, Milan will claim that this year. On the right of the picture there, Emiliano Mondonico, the coach of Torino. They say his contract's up at the end of this season. There have even been rumours connecting him with Inter Milan. Well, there's a connection there, certainly, between Salenzi on David Hillier, who's going off for treatment. So Arsenal, for the moment, down to 10.
That's an unusual one. That when a player goes up like that normally, it's consequences don't seem too clever.
Right with the free kick. Adams and Bold. It's Bold who gets the header. And they just could not find the final touch to beat Galli.
That's what the Arsenal chief will be looking for. They've been playing 10 minutes, and that's the first real threat they put on the Torino goal. And that's the Arsenal trademark, isn't it? Pressurising people.
Smith chasing. Gregucci going with him. Hilliard still off the pitch, and of course they've got Ian Selly, who's George Graham puts a lot of faith in this young midfield player on the substitute bench. Here's Anoni.
Just wonder if they could do with a breaking midfield player in there. I mean, looking at them, Davis, Jensen and Hillier, they're all what I would term sitting midfield players. Nobody really runs past the ball from there.
Let's have a quick word with Gary Newbon on the touchline.
Yes, David Hillier has been taken to the dressing room, a 3-inch gash on his right leg, and Gary Lewin has asked for, the physio has asked for a very quick answer. They've got Ian Selly warming up, and Lewin himself has now gone to the dressing room. They're very anxious to know very quickly whether Hillier can go on or not.
Thank you, Gary. 0-0 here. Arsenal at the moment down to 10 men. This is Musi. Been allowed to go a long way. Musi and Seaman down. My goodness, there was danger there for Arsenal.
Some rank bad defending there as well. They all left it to each other, and Lucy decided to go it alone. And actually, his shot was a poor one, really, considering the situation he found himself in. A lot of hesitancy there between Dixon and Bold and Adams.
And here's Musi. He cuts inside Steve Bowles, but it was a poor shot, and Seaman was nicely behind it.
Good chance that, Brian, you know, isn't it? I mean, we've seen a good chance at both ends now.
Merson running in on that one. Davis in the end. A little touch from Smith. Here's Fuzi. Musi. Foul on him.
Just watching the Italian coach there, he's trying to make a gesture while he's a man over, while he's an extra man on the field to try and push his players forward more.
Nigalia gets the header in.
It was a good header back across goal, wasn't it? I mean, he's entitled to expect
Salensi or Francescoli to be in on that.
To be trapping in on that, definitely.
Just a little uneasy moments there if you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, particularly defensively. I mean, sometimes you look at them and I think the Arsenal are always happy when they halves are defending against big guys they can sort of stand up against. I just have that feeling sometimes a little bit of movement, a little bit of pace disturbs them at the back.
Doesn't look as though I'm told that Hilliard will be coming back on.
Just wonder, looking at the subs he's got, George, he's got a few good attacking options.
I think it'll be Selly, won't it?
Selly's coming on, it'll be a one-for-one job. I just wondered if he was going to, well, obviously he didn't, but whether he thought of having Parlour in there.
Yeah, Parlour's not on the...
it looks as if he's right there for somebody that can run from the middle of the park, like this lad's doing now.
Ventura's doing now. Francescoli. Well, the Italians weren't too upset with a 0-0 after the first leg. Well, number 16, Ian Stelly coming on, the 19-year-old, born in Weybridge. Played, in fact, in the first leg. It's 1-1. Right. That's a nice touch. Picking up Dixon. Came off Susie. Lucy with the clearance. Adams throw. Speed bowl, Winterburn all the way to the touchline on the far side. It's with Adams again, though, for Arsenal. Played forward, but Dixon was outwitted there by Musi. Musi went in too strongly there for the Dutch referee. Free kick to Arsenal. Jensen never scored in an Arsenal shirt, 18 months here. Davis. Much forward to Selly. Deep to the ball, good play there, but Davis' pass didn't quite reach Smith, and Galley makes the clear. Ligucci.
Funnily enough, they put a nice little pocket of football there together, Arsenal, but I rather think Torino will be happy if they decide to play that way and maybe take the foot off the pedal and, play the so-called sophisticated passing game as opposed to Arsenal from middle, always at the most dangerous, but also at the most vulnerable by the same yardstick, most dangerous when they're really putting you under the cosh. And at the moment, I would say 15 minutes close on, and we haven't seen anything really. We've seen one good chance from the free kick, Paul's header.
Kelly. Towards right. Venture in. Sinigalia. Now Winterburn. Bit of space now. Can he use it and use it well? Davis has gone wide for him. Davis with the cross towards Kelly. Couldn't reach him. Jensen! Well, one of these days it'll happen for him. 18 months and they rid him in training. They say he can't even score in training either. But one of these days, Jensen is going to hit the target.
I remember making a comment about him in that European Cup final, wasn't it? I'm just wondering when you said it earlier whether at the hand of death on him sort of thing.
Yes, to remind our viewers, it was in Gothenburg, wasn't it, Ron? And he said the one thing you didn't like about him was that he just didn't seem to be able to get a scoring shot. And within a minute of that, he scored the most rasping goal you could ever imagine. But he's only scored one goal since then, and that was for his country, and none, as I say, for Arsenal. Tony Adams with the free kick for Arsenal. 17.5 minutes gone, 0-0. Of a high finishing level on aggregate, away goals count double, and they count double, unlike in the Coca-Cola Cup, they count double in the first 90 minutes. Here's Jensen. So much work through those midfield areas. Now just persuading Adams to come into the play. Just can't get right going at the moment. Galley goes down to make that save.
I think Ian Wright would have liked that earlier. Nice build-up. Jensen had 3 or 4 touches, put 3 or 4 passes in. But the Italians will funnel back, they'll get behind the ball, they'll try and close space up, and sometimes when the space opens, the Arsenal lads will have to hit it very quickly.
Sinigalia, got a run forward there by the sweeper Fortunato, and now Fusi, who was the sweeper in the first leg, goes back to that position again. Well cut out there by Courage. Intercepted though by Jensen. Challenged there by Dixon. Jensen. Adams available. Salensi coming in quickly. Davis. Getting it back to Steve Bowles. Jensen. Oh, cut out by Lucy. Fusi, the captain. A perfect pass again for Musi. Salensi's there in the middle, and so was Seafold. An excellent challenge there by Seafold. Got forward by Selly. Merson almost into his path. It just caught him up a little bit there. He's lost the boot, but not his poise. The cross is in there, and Galley gets it beautifully for Torino.
But that was more like the Arsenal, wasn't it?
Oh, that was a bad challenge there. Young Selly a yellow card.
Yes, I don't think you can have any troubles whatsoever about that. The only thing that can be said in his defence, he was coming in quick, and the lad had turned inside very, very sharp. But just harking back to the move just previous that saw Merson nearly clean through, that was more like Arsenal, releasing it forward very, very quickly.
This is a foul by Shelley on Fortunato. My goodness, he was rash in the extreme. And this is the Merson run. He loses his boot here about.
Just couldn't get the first ball out of his feet. He actually does very well here. Probably would have expected Alan Smith and maybe to have gone a bit closer attacking it. That's a big goalie in there, though, Galley. He is a big, big keeper.
Yes, he's another 6'4" merchant with a lot of experience, the Italian goalkeeper, Giovanni Galli. 2 European Cup winners' medals with Milan, and he played for Italy in the 86 World Cup. Had 9 seasons at Fiorentina. And I saw him working last night, and I tell you what, I've rarely seen a goalkeeper work as hard as he does. He's 35, and obviously feels he's got a lot more football left in him. Bold versus Salensi. Selly takes it up. That's taken off him by Sinigalia. Salensi again. Oh, get away, right.
Gets Merson away.
Oh, that was surely a bad obstruction there by Fortunato. A yellow card. And he also can have no complaints about that.
So that's one thing markers and sweepers don't like, people running at them with the ball, and that's blatant. Fortunato is just stepped right across Merson.
A couple of times Arsenal have been so close to getting Merson running into that really dangerous position just outside the box.
What it does mean, of course, now is their last man in defence. Fortunato can't afford to make any sort of risk like that again.
Davis with the free kick. And, well, it was Selly coming in right at the back. Didn't quite get a touch on it. It's a goal kick to Torino. But this game still beautifully poised. 0-0 still, as it was in the first leg.
We see there again, though, don't we? Just an ordinary-looking ball into the box. That's twice Arsenal have done that. Once the header from Bold and that one. And they haven't really reacted too well to the Torino defenders.
Canoni. Free kick given away by Adams. Nice, but total concentration by Arsenal. It's got to show the utmost patience as well.
The only thing about that, sorry, Brian, the only thing about that patience game, and I think that suits Torino better than Arsenal, to play a patience game. I think the lower the tempo, the more it will suit the Italians.
Yes, I wasn't really referring quite so much as the style they play, but they mustn't get agitated if, for whatever style they play, they don't score straight away. That's so Zelensky knocking it down. Shot was charged down, Fusi coming in there.
I think George Graham will just wonder a little bit about losing Hillier so early, because he does do that sort of discipline role in front of the two centre-backs, and that enables, if you like, the Arsenal full-backs to push on in the knowledge there's a spare man at the back.
Smith going for this one. Gregucci, big strong defender. Handball by Dixon. Patience game or not, and whether they concentrate or not, the number one requirement is that every half chance that Arsenal gets must be made to count. Fortunato. Ventura in the midfield are in a bit of trouble, falling to the bench. Francescoli. In Italy, he's been playing some of his best football over the last few weeks. That was a lovely bit of skill there. He sent tumbling after he'd played the ball.
He's not too happy the way Johnny Jensen took him out there. Some lovely skill for him.
Now it's Winterburn. Merson sitting away on the left flank now. And they've sportingly kicked the ball into touch, because I think the number 11 Giorgio Venturin could be quite seriously injured. In fact, Winterburn was standing alongside him and waving the trainers on. They've got a good record away from home in this competition at Torino. They won 2-0 in their first round against Lillestrøm of Norway, and 2-1 at Aberdeen in the second round. Coming away from home doesn't hold any great fears for them. Venturin goes off. So it'll be a Torino throw. And I think the referee's just looking to see whether Torino want to make their substitution. And the Arsenal fans, with some justification, getting slightly agitated, saying, well, come on, let's get on with the game. They're down to now. Yanni is coming on. Now that will make a readjustment, because Yanni will come across the left back. Musi will go across to the right, which is exactly what he's doing now. And that could cause one or two problems for Mr. Lee Dixon and for Arsenal in particular, because this Yugoslav, I tell you, what we saw in the first leg, he does make some devastating runs.
As you say, Brian, I don't think that's particularly good news for Arsenal.
No, I don't either.
I mean, we were surprised. I think it was just symbolic of the way they wanted to play Torino that he wasn't in at the start, because he's certainly a far more offensive or attacking, got more attacking ideas than some of the defenders they've got out there.
John Jensen, raised it for Tony Adams. Hit long towards Merson. Musi over in his role on the right-hand side now, gets it clear. Arsenal and the beat Odense of Denmark, and Stade Liège of Belgium in their 2 rounds. Dixon with the throw. Wright does a dummy. Picks it up from Smith. To try and get the better of Annoni. Alan Smith again. Plays it back for Adams. Plays it in quickly. Smith is there once again. Selly. There's a chip in there. Merson's going for this one. Davis is across on the far side. Knocked away by Curtis. Bowles playing it in once more. This time it's Fortunato with the ball. Adams. Picking out Jensen well. Knocked towards Merson. Curtis again gets it clear.
Just watching Annoni there running, trying to track him. He's fallen over now against him. Just watching him running. He looks woefully short of fitness. You commented earlier about that his leg is really out for him. I think they've taken a decided hand in playing him tonight. Obviously because of his experience and his ability to maybe shut out the likes of Ian Wright. But he looks as if he's struggling a little bit fitness-wise.
Boyce just runs the ball into touch.
That's the good thing, Regis. So
well, this is Annoni. Yeah. Had a few yellow cards this season. He's a tough character. And if he's not 100% fit, it's obviously they have this fear of Ian Wright with every justification. And Annoni is known as one of the best markers in the Italian Serie A.
Just wondering if Ian Wright took him on a few longer runs. He's trying to dart in and out at the moment, right? If he stretched him a little bit, he may get some benefit of that in the second half. He could quite conceivably tire Annoni out.
It's with Adams. Now Bowles. Moosey. He got the legs of Bowles. He has. But Winterburn is backing up well, still with Moosey. And now Francescoli. Onto the left foot. Could be problems. No, Bowles got his head in the way. Merson gathers it now for Arsenal. Dixon's available. Crowd appreciative of Merson's work there. But Torino have got possession again. Senigallia. Uzi. Celessi. Dixon playing it forward. Boyce, it'll be an Arsenal throw.
He's come to his pass coverage. Every time the ball's going to Merson, he's hardly a yard away from him. And where he does do different to English defenders, he tries to nip in front and pinch the ball.
Early Dixon. Excellent crowd in the background with the throw. Quite a respectable long one towards Alan Smith, but Galley is there. 19 caps for his country. Yanni. Davis charging far too briskly into the back of Senigallia. Francescoli, they claim a handball. No handball, says the Dutch referee. And Torino, who was so negative and basically fairly unimpressive in the first leg, looking a better outfit in the second. But here's Wright.
Yes, he's right, Brian. They have looked very compact. This is an error here from Lucy. Let's see him right in. Obviously, he wants to buy a ticket and see if he can win the raffle with that one. But what has disappointed me a little bit from the Arsenal's point of view, and I'm sure it will have done George Graham, at no time yet has Dixon and Winterburn really got high at the park and produced some telling balls into the box and built up the Arsenal pressure.
Kikuchi with a header.
At the moment, they've played virtually everything into the feet of Smith, into the feet of Wright, and although they've been quite tidy, they've not really made anything happen.
Merson's header. Smith. Finding Davis. Lucy's getting back quickly. Davis finds Merson. height, but again, Galley using his height so well.
Yeah, but that ball really should have been coming in from Davis. The ball was outside his left foot. He's got as good a left foot as there is in the game. That should have been coming in first time with his left foot. He's got Wright and Smith in there looking for it.
Free kick. Quick words from Gary Newbon.
Well, Stuart Houston, the first-team coach here. Actually, Brian, I'll just give it back to you for a moment. They're on the attack.
Gary, thank you. Come to you in a moment. I think we can come to you now, Gary.
Yeah, didn't want to miss a goal there. Stuart Houston, the first-team coach at Arsenal, really has the loudest whistle and the loudest voice of any of the people I've heard in the dugout, and he's able to command the team to do what he wants, or what George Graham wants. And what he keeps saying here is for the fullbacks to keep moving forward, keep passing the ball until they're ready to aim at Alan Smith, and they're asking Wright and Merson to run off Smith. Now, I'd be interested to know whether Ron Atkinson thinks that's working, but that is the tactic that they're hammering into the Arsenal players.
I think Stuart Houston's been listening to Ron Atkinson.
I can understand the value of not just lumping everything into the box, Brian, but I don't think as yet the fullbacks have got themselves into attacking situations where they're in good positions to produce the ball.
Galia slipping the challenge of two there. Going on well. In the end, Bowles ends up strong, and Cork's got advanced. Winterburn can't keep it in play. A throw to Torino.
It's my reading of the situation. If the game was to stay in this sort of thing, as it is at the moment, this would suit Torino far more than it would Arsenal. I think Torino would obviously have thought that Arsenal would build pressure up on them, contest the thing, pressurise, pump a lot more balls into the box than they've done. And, you know, they've been playing, over half an hour, coming up to 35 minutes, and still that surge hasn't really come now. I appreciate patience, and you don't get caught at the back. So the home side, the onus is on them. They've got to try and make the game. I'm sure if it stays like this second half, Brian, I'm sure you will see them attack that bank for all they're worth.
Adams towards Smith. Noguchi got up well above Alan Smith on that occasion. Bowles playing it wide for Winterburn. Right, shot unceremoniously off the ball there by Anoni. And nothing given, although it was right under the eyes of the Dutch referee. Houston, the right-hand man of George Graham, still with a good deal to say for himself. And at the moment, plenty to be said. Arsenal still 0-0. Here's Merson. Stopped by Fortunato.
He's at the one for me at the moment, Brian Merson. Paul Merson looks as if he's... Sometimes you look at Paul Merson and you wonder, but sometimes you look at him and he appears to be running above the ground. And he looks in that mood tonight. You know, I half fancied him then to do Fortunato when he was one-on-one in.
Statistic there. He enjoys a bit of European football. 3 and 5. Noguchi gets it up to Francescoli. There was a foul by Jensen.
Sometimes people that, you know, markers like the European markers, they're not entirely happy when people pick the ball up and run at them. And when he's on his game, there's few better than Merson about.
Right. Held back and then has a little kick out, which wasn't a very sensible thing to do on Francescoli. Arms round each other at the end. Well, we'll see.
I think that's glossed something over the tackle at the other end, actually, because Paul Merson actually looks as if he's virtually got through here. I mean, Arsenal have got good possession. No danger that Francescoli's out of order there. But it's a pity Ian Wright couldn't see what Johnny Jensen's produced here. Paul Merson's run off the back of the sweeper.
Well, Arsenal afterwards get this free kick. Played in towards Smith. Selly. Most people came away from Turin a fortnight ago very disappointed with Torino. I must say, they look a much more impressive side on this occasion here, but they've got a strange mentality, haven't they? Trevor Francis would know more than better than I. The Italians, that, you know, a 0-0 if White goes down. That's a yellow card for Gagucci. I think most British sides, if they're held at home to 0-0, would call that not a very good result. But in fact, the Italians regarded that as a very acceptable result. Gagucci going in there. They always fancy themselves on the break to get something in the second leg. And in fact, they have looked a much better team in this second leg. And Arsenal knew that it was going to be tight, and now they know that it is.
Yeah, they spent most of the time with most of their players in their own half of the field. They passed the ball nice and neat. They haven't really committed too many men forward. They've just left Big Salenti up the field on his own. Francisco sometimes joins him. There's been just a hint that there could be a threat off the right-hand side. As I said, Senegal, he's made 1 or 2 breaks. Coyce, when he's broke out from the backs, looked quite effective coming down that right-hand side.
Free kick then to Arsenal. Senegalia gets it clear. Jensen just knocks it back in there, right. Oh, a lot of maroon shirts of Torino defenders in there. Dixon plays it in the game once more towards right. Trying to turn Anoni, but just goes over the byline. Those are the White having a bit of fun there with the Torino fans. So quite a few over with them. Challenge there from Anoni. Well, apparently it was. Free kick then to Arsenal. Davis plays it into Dixon. Come towards the last 5 minutes of the first half now. Francescoli stopped by Paul Davis.
He's shown a far greater appetite for me. Francescoli than I would have expected. I'm saying that he's played particularly better this season than he's done for a little while in Italy. I had a feeling that he might have got flattered early on. He might have taken him out early.
Perfect. Well, in fact, he got a flattering, didn't he, in the first 5 or 10 minutes, but he seemed to shake that off, and indeed, he looks as dangerous as anybody on the field at the moment. Challenging Jensen there, but Jensen gets it across nonetheless to Winterburn. Played in towards Smith. Couldn't quite get it off to right. And here's Anoni. Winterburn's got the better of him. He has got the better of him now. Oh, bad cross. Then Arsenal, and particularly Merson and Smith, who were beautifully placed just outside the 6-yard area, were looking for a nice, precise cross. Winterburn, after doing so well against Anoni.
Anoni here, he doesn't look too agile there, does he? He doesn't, for me, he's not sharp at all. Winterburn's robbed him very well. Now, I would have expected his left foot to produce something telling here.
And Winterburn still...
I don't know whether it's just nicked a hamstring or whether that's a little bit of calf. No, it's stretching out as if he's got cramp.
Well, the defenders that Arsenal have available to them, well, the defender is Martin Keown, who's played full-back, of course.
Just wonder whether they could almost, it might be a little bit early in the game, whether they could unleash Limpar in sort of a little wing-back position.
Well, of course, if they do have to put somebody on for Winterburn, that option goes, because they will have then played their 2 substitutes. So these are rather crucial moments as we...
That's the area of the field that Stuart Houston would be saying we want his full-backs to be, if you like, past the penalty area in wide areas, but them producing a ball.
Well, there's Martin Keown warming up. And the young fans and the old fans are still waiting for this first Arsenal goal. Winterburn moving fairly gingerly, but he does so. Galley with the kick for Torino. swift challenge by Dixon on Yanni. Torino 7 times champions of Italy, but not in recent years. In fact, their victory in the Italian Cup last season was their first trophy for some 17 years. Towards Solenzi, the header away by Bold, finds Merson, here's Giancelli. It's not a bad ball, Wright is chasing it. Fortunato's doing his work and Wright couldn't do his.
Disappointing that, because that was great build-up stuff. Great run from Ian Wright, a terrific ball from Ian Selly. Certainly makes a great diagonal run here, and he spotted Ian brilliantly. He's run across the sweeper. He's got good possession. You think he'd have just control that and straighten himself up. He didn't really need, okay, if he wants to put an early ball in, fine, but he didn't really need to. I think he could have taken a touch and straightened himself up and attacked the last defender.
Seeming attack there. Right challenging Anoni. And the whistle.
He's done the defender a favour there. The defender was in all sorts of trouble there, Anoni with the ball bouncing. And I think Ian Wright's been a bit impetuous and done him a favour by challenging him. Compared to Arsenal, from after the first 10 minutes or so, Torino really haven't been over-ambitious, have they? And early on they looked, you thought, well, none of it. There's one or two little signs up front there, but since then their ambitions died and they decided to just camp, just keep the 1.5 players up the front.
But they haven't looked ill at ease at all, have they? They've looked quite comfortable so far in defence.
Oh, they look very compact, very tidy. I mean, that suits me playing this way. That's why I just like to see Arsenal doing the tempo.
Winterburn trying to do just that. Wright going across there to keep the ball in play. And then gives it to Francescoli.
Good job he was hauled down there for Solenzi. He'd found himself in acres of space. I think Tony Adams is thinking of something entirely different to a European Cup match.
Of course, it must be decided tonight, either in extra time or penalties at the end of extra time, and I've got a feeling we're in for a pretty dramatic second half. Gianni. Nice. Dixon, in fact, was holding him unfairly. Dixon got a taste there of what he got in the first 10 minutes or so in Turin, where Gianni embarrassed him once or twice. Came off the referee then, Davis.
We'll say in the week he intended that one.
Came off the referee. Anoni, nice touch. Musi forward to Solenzi. Francescoli, the free kick taken. Time added on.
I'm sure George is going to be saying to him at half-time, we've got to step up the tempo. We've got to drive more from the flank defensive positions, even from midfield. We've got to take the game onto them more. Try and force an error out of it.
Here's Bow. Tony Adams. Ace in the semi-finals. Cup Winners' Cup. We're waiting the winners here tonight. Davis. Smith. Martin has been excellent at the back for Torino. Here's Fusi. Another place in which they break out from defence as well. Musi. Even the big Dragucci up from the back. Finds Solenzi. Francescoli. He's in there, but he's offside, surely. Yes, indeed. David Seaman quickly taking the kick. Up towards Merson. It's an Arsenal throw. They must use it. Fixing it. Referee looking at his watch. Davis again.
They really wanted a running ball there from Davis. He broke it. He got broke on the back of the Torino midfield. And he really wanted a ball he could take in his stride.
Up towards Alan Smith. Nodded down by him. Telly with the shot. And, oh, that clicked off Ian Wright. And Galley was so quick to get down at the post.
Some good agility here, isn't it? I mean,
Well, it's good agility by Wright and by Galley. It was
natural
Telly's
instinct.
shot.
Natural instinct from Wright and full marks for the keeper there.
Yanni. Sinigalia on this side of the field now. Davis trying to hold him up. Fortunato. Somehow these Italians look in a fairly menacing form. They're really mean at the back, and they do look quite dangerous when they break out. Arsenal have really got to step up and find something in this second half. 0-0 though still on aggregate, and 0-0 so far satisfied Torino. Free kick for them now. Quite a debate on who should take it. Seaman lining up the 4 in the wall.
Gianni comes here, doesn't he?
Yes. Francesco number 10. Anoni is behind it. Fortunato in there too. Well, up to something here. Anoni with the shot. Well, there was a chance right at the other end where it's played in, and Selly in fact hits a good shot. Smith knocks it back. Selly's shot, and it comes off right. And the keeper gets down well.
May just have been shaving that, may have been going outside actually, but Galley couldn't afford to take any chances. But the instinct of a natural striker there, wasn't it? Right. Hasn't had a look in, and yet as early on the stroke of half-time, by flicking his through that nearly put them in the lead.
Gibson throw. Another long one into the Torino penalty. It came off Figucci. And, well, Adams almost forced it home. Fell to the ground, looked for a penalty. Nothing given, and Anoni brings it away. And suddenly, the break is on. Sinigalia. Silenzi with the shot. Hits it wide. The danger was there for Arsenal. And that, in its way, encapsulates the whole of the problem that Arsenal might face. Pressing at one end, leaving themselves open at the other, and very nearly paying the price. Adams goes in. There was no foul there. It was a dive. The referee didn't want to know. And suddenly at the other end, Arsenal were in real trouble. The half-time whistle has gone, incidentally. And the shot by Silenzi was wide. So a dramatic end to the first half, and it's still so very, very tight here on aggregate and on the night. Arsenal 0, Torino 0.
Welcome back to Highbury, where the teams have still to re-emerge. Maybe that's because George Graham is extending his team talk. Trevor, how can he change things if that goal doesn't come immediately?
Well, I think when you look at the front three, they're used to playing against the zonal system in England. And I think today they're up against, three players who are expert man-to-man markers. And they found it very, very difficult. I would think that tonight may just be the time, for Anders Limpar. I think he's got great international experience. He dribbles well with the ball. He does a lot of his dangerous work in wide areas. And I would think that as long as it stays 0-0, George won't be too disappointed, but he may just be the person to open up this very, very good Torino defence.
Well, a wonderfully depressing statistic for George is that Arsenal have been involved in European competition in 10 seasons and only won a trophy in one of them. We can check up now on how British teams have fared since the Heysel Stadium disaster. There you are. Manchester United won the Cup Winners' Cup. Spurs reached the quarter-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup, and Liverpool the quarter-finals of the UEFA. It's not a great record.
No, it's not too impressive. At the top of the caption there, you got Manchester United, and I really felt that they would have done better this year in the European Cup. It's a big surprise when they went out too early to Galatasaray. But I think that the new foreign rule has been a severe handicap to the English team.
Well, George Graham, to go on about George, is anxious for the rest of the country to get behind Arsenal, the last English team involved in European competition. What hope do you think he's got of that?
Well, I think that when an English team are playing in the quarter-finals of a European competition, they are the last team. I think the whole country do get behind them. I would think that everyone's watching tonight, desperately wanting Arsenal to get a go in this second half. But they've got to try and improve a little bit from the first half. As I said, I would like to see them create a little bit more, although possibly one of their best chances of scoring could be from a set piece. We showed the throw-in earlier on, but another good chance was from a free kick early on when I think it was Smith who miskicked on the volley. They always are a threat from set pieces. And it's interesting, that while we talk about set pieces, they've had free kicks, they've had throw-ins, they've not had one corner yet. And we all know how dangerous Arsenal are on corners, especially in FA Cup finals.
Well, you said that, you do. We said at the start of the game that, or you said that Arsenal were going to win. Now you're saying that they're going to get the first goal from the set piece.
Yeah, I've been surprised at the way Torino have played. They've played very well, but I still stick with Arsenal.
OK, stick with Arsenal. Right then, let's get on with the second half. The kick-off just a couple of seconds away. Time to rejoin Ron Atkinson and the match commentator, Brian Moore.
Thank you, Matthew. Well, do you stick with Arsenal?
I'm hoping Arsenal win. At the moment, there's nothing to suggest that they're favourites to win it. I just feel they've got to build up their tempo. I still really. I think, they've been a bit steady. You talk about playing the patience game in Europe. I think that was better for the likes of when Liverpool were in their plump. I think Arsenal at their best are a forcing side.
Well, they're attacking the old North Bank. Used to be the North Bank at the moment. And it's right doing the attacking, pursued there by Sinigalia. Oh, and it fell for him. Until Fortunato got in there and made the clearance. It's Arsenal's throw. Lee Dixon with it. A long one towards Smith. Two defenders going for that. And in fact, at last, Arsenal get a corner. Well, Davis will take it, the first one of the game. And, Steve Bow is already in that familiar position at the near post with that little flick on that is so difficult to defend against, but that's not delivered in nearly well enough. Bow trying to keep the momentum going, but Yanni gets it clear for Torino. Winterburn, right, peeled away down this left flank, Smith there. That's Gregucci was right on Smith's heels.
It waits so long for 40-odd minutes for a corner, and then the delivery is such a poor quality.
What a play. Torino's throw.
I must say they've looked tentative and they all matter after you. They've never looked convincing about what they're doing.
Here's Winterburn. Smith to Gregucci. Oh, Smith done well. Winterburn's done well. And only gets it clear. Sinigalia makes the final clearance. And Adams will get the throw. But
that's more like it. That was the earlier ball. The ball that dips in early and creates the pressure situation.
Only the marker looks to be limping a little bit, actually. Fortunato, the sweeper, gets it clear. Tony Adams. Come out by Chris. Long, right in there, hoping to get behind the marker. In fact, I think it hit right. It cleared the marker, Annoni. Hit right on the back of the head. Adams didn't really get a contact on that. Celesti. And in the end, it was Davis. Yanni had made a terrific break for Torino, and Celesti just refused to release the ball to him, which was good news for Arsenal. Winterburn releasing that one towards Smith. Lasted from behind again by Gregucci, who's already got a yellow card, remember.
I don't think Alex Smith ever had a tougher game than this in his career, wouldn't he?
He's a big, tough man, this number 5, isn't he, Gregucci?
Sticks to his task, he's there, yeah.
He was a teammate of Gazza's last season at Lazio. He was captain, actually, of Lazio Rome. his first season at Torino. Free kick for Arsenal then. Very excitable fellow, that's number 5. There's fearsome tackles. Winterburn now plays it in towards Merson. This is Fortunato who got it clear. Adam stopping that danger. Slowly came in. Winterburn knocking it forward. Sinigalia just plays it as a touch.
He's worked tremendously hard for Sinigalia.
Winterburn plays it in early towards right. And only so. Winterburn again, doing plenty of work in the early moments of this second half. Merson. Winterburn again, playing it in carefully. Smith. Merson. A bit of space here. Paul Davis. Standing with a shot. Will he have another go? Brought down on the edge of the box, but I'm just wondering why Davis didn't have a little pop himself.
Well, that is talk about passing the buck there. I mean, that is good build-up from the arse.
Right, this is good work now for Arsenal. And Susie in the end getting it away. Sorry, Ron.
Well, we're going to say Davis, and let's give the crowd the lift, though. The start is now, there's been a bit of tempo about it. It's also noticeable, that Alan Smith has started pulling wide. And whether that's deliberate just to try and pull Bozucci out the middle.
Salensi. Still have to watch these plays. Francescoli. Jensen after him. And Jensen played the ball, made the challenge. Arsenal get the throw. It wasn't an unfair challenge from behind. Francescoli unhappy about it. Adams. Here's Winterburn. They really upped the tempo in these opening minutes of the second half. Merson. No foul.
He's running from side to side, Merson. He's making 40-yard duggies across the pitch. And every time he turns around, Sandro Choice, the number 4, is about half a yard from behind him.
Smith. Winterburn. Stopped by Gregucci.
Now, this is encouraging from the Arsenal point of view. You're right. They've got to make sure that they don't leave the back door open. But this, to me, represents their best way of winning. They get ahead of steam.
Adams. In quickly, Jensen. I think George Graham probably had the paint peeling on the dressing room walls at half-time because he's really done something to get the tempo in this Arsenal side now. Yanni gets it away. They've got to be wary of this situation. Adams versus Salensi, and Adams in the end kept his head beautifully, nodding it back for Seaman, Jackson, Ainoni, Salensi. Yanni.
There's a nice hole in the middle of the Torino defence when Smith, all of a sudden, when the ball's wide, and Smith dragged Gucci out into a wider area. I certainly don't fancy Agnoni in 1v1 situations against Rice. That's annoyed him, right? He's just been 40 yards to link up and connect with Winterburn. He's turned it all the way back to his own goalkeeper.
Winterburn in again. Davis leaving it for Winterburn. Winterburn all the way. Great save. That was a super piece of goalkeeping by Gally.
The bad miss, Clark. He's done excellent there, Winterburn. Since the start of this first half, he's driven the game. He's made 3 or 4 good surges. Very good trick and Fortunato there. And really, with the left foot he's got, that should have been going in the back of the net.
Jensen with the header. Susie.
Again, come to life, hasn't it? I mean, I thought he was in danger of sort of just going a little bit tepid first half, but now there's a passion about the game.
Smith dragging Gregucci wide again.
Now, if you can deliver from here, this is a situation with a big centre-half in the middle.
David. Lucy, challenged by Smith and by Davis. Outwits the pair of them. Flicks it for Francescoli. Yanni. These are the runs we were saying they must beware of. Winterburn again. Trying to cut inside Sinigalia. Foul by Sinigalia. Free kick to Arsenal. come deep to mark him, right, picking out Winterburn. Much more movement about Arsenal in this second half.
To me, they look a different side. They look much more purposeful, much more as if they know what they want out of the game now. I thought they looked, to use the word, dippy in the first half. Now they're more active. Oh!
Pushed by Smith. Smith claims it was a dive.
The crowd are giving him marks.
Taguchi saying, aren't you going to do something about it, ref? And Wright offers him a hand of friendship. Well, the referee's given Torino a free kick. Oh, what a dive.
But Smith, after the stick he's taken all through the game, can't believe he's had a free kick given against him for that.
Adam. Oh, that was a slight clearance by Dixon, but Winterburn left it forward to the Senegalia. Now Noni, Yanni on the far side. Got terrific pace. Davis just held him up there for a moment, but the free kick was given. There was a foul by Davis. Davis claims he played the ball, but once Yanni has worked up ahead of steam, goodness, he takes some stopping. He is so quick.
He's an exciting player, isn't he?
So Arsenal now need to be disciplined at this end, just as they were enthusiastic at the other. Gone wide from Francescoli. Saying at half-time, Ron, how businesslike you thought Torino looked. In fact, it's Arsenal who are looking very businesslike in these opening minutes of the second half.
But I think Arsenal are looking more like Arsenal. I know that's what they are really now. I mean, when you play against, oh, that's lovely looking.
Lovely ball by Merson. Dixon couldn't quite get on the end of it. Here's Lee Dixon. His persistence was paid off. Not a good ball by John Jensen, though.
Yeah, so when you play here, when you come here with a side, you don't expect to play against Arsenal and have a steady tempo game. You know, whatever happens, you're going to be in for the tempo of the game is always going to be high.
Linesman flagging on the far side. He wasn't sure about it, it seems to me.
And as I say, Brian, for me, first half, that didn't really happen. It was too steady. I know you're always a bit frightened in Europe about the away goal against and things like that. But if you have a way of playing, sometimes you've got to stick to that way of playing. I just wonder whether Arsenal have got caught between two stools. Tony Adams with a nutmeg. That's probably the same area Stanley Matthews went down a few times.
Well, Fortunato, who has a problem. Both for Atalanta and Juventus and Bari. Cowley with the kick. Renzi. Oh, what a bad ball there by Dixon. Straight to Musi. That was a bad ball. And they're not out of the wood yet. Noni. Davis gets it clear. Up to Smith, who's come a yard or two off Taguchi. Couldn't control it, though. Curry. Smith after him as well. Giving him no rest whatsoever now. Merson down the line. And Arsenal's ball. Well, it's encouraging the crowd to cheer them, but Merson at the moment is injured.
I know they've got limp already made, but that'd be a blow for them. That'd be a blow if Paul Merson came back. Because to me, he looks as if he's got the bit between his teeth tonight. So he hasn't really come up with yet, but you always get the feeling when you see him in this mood that he could make. You see, he's got 9 goals. He looks as if he could pull something out the bag for them tonight.
Just saying also, and I suppose it's one of the things that's on George Graham's mind, is Anders Limpaj on the bench. You were saying to me at half time, you never like him playing when you come here.
No, I mean, he can make things happen. Trevor Francis made the point. He plays against continental opposition, or he's played in Italy himself, so he knows about this.
Well, there he is. There's the man in the tunnel there now. Not Gary Newbon. Right alongside Anders Limpaj. Let's have a word with Gary Newbon.
Well, Brian, I can tell you what was said at half-time, actually. George Graham said, look, we were playing it the right way until the last 10 minutes of the first half. Keep the ball on the ground. You're playing too many long balls. And so they started the second half, keeping the ball down, keeping it short, but still looking for the opportunity to put Smith away in terms of knocking it down to Merson and Wright. And obviously, they want to make sure that Merson's perfectly all right now.
Well, he is. He's on his feet. He's chipping the ball forward. Thank you, Gary. Tony Adams. If it stays at 0-0, we go to extra time, and if it stays at 0-0 after that, we go to penalties. Davis. Winterburn. And unfairly to shrug off Roberto Musti.
Yeah, I think they've overplayed their Arsenal. It's supposed to put 2 or 3 extra passes in. Ian Wright to pull away to the far part of the penalty area, and he's just man 1v1 against Danioni. Big centre-half out the middle, so anything flown in there, he's going to have a great chance.
Oh, taken nicely on that chest, but the pass left a good deal to be desired. Now he's got a backtrack. Lentz is after him. Adams. Oh, will Seaman get there? Well, Seaman, surely that was a back pass by Adams.
I think Seaman realised just at the very moment he was going to pick it up, but there was a possibility.
Tell you what, I think he actually handled the ball there, you know.
I think there was that much confusion. And Tony Adams has got to have better concentration than that. It's a very loose ball. It could have been very costly for him.
Have a look at it very quickly here. Back with Seaman now while you're watching this.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that was a miscontrol more than a back pass, to be fair, but I mean, you know, you're in the lap of the gods if you decide to pluck the ball up. I don't think actually he did pull out of that thing. I think he didn't quite make it.
Yanni with the header for Torino. Such a powerful competition, this Cup Winners' Cup, as we come towards the semi-finals. The Emiliano Mondonico, the coach of Torino. Free kick for Arsenal. Well, the match is being played tonight in this competition. Bayer Leverkusen, the German Cup winners against Benfica. That's 1-1 after the first leg. And Bayer Leverkusen, we gather, a 1-up on the night. And then there's Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. Paris leading 1-0 going into the second leg. And Real Madrid lead 1-0 in that one. So it's really tight, but some really excellent sides. And Parma of Italy and Ajax play tomorrow. Free kick then for Arsenal. Floated in. Timo Kaguchi might have gone anywhere. In the end, it went for Mutti, finding Francescoli. And the break. They looked for the break again. Fortunato. Arsenal thought it was a handball. The referee said no. Here's Francescoli again. Time there was a foul on Francescoli. It's a free kick.
Tell you what, that was dangerous. I mean, a free kick at 1 into the third, then Torino break, and actually they had men over. If Fortunato could have played a diagonal ball there to the other side of the Arsenal defence, they would have been in dead set.
After he's fouled, he does well. In goes Winterburn, but Musti got the better of him. Sinigalia. And Selly already put. Losing his head again there, the young man, and flying in there, conceding a free kick just outside the penalty area. His assault on Sinigalia. There we are, Ron.
Yes, I mean, he's just thrown himself at him there. To be fair, a top Italian player doesn't need too much encouragement to go down on the edge of the opposite penalty box.
Francescoli and Yanni behind this. It's the Dutch referee insisting not to go back 10 yards. Francescoli. Arsenal get it away. It was Lee Dixon with the header. Merson knocking it on. Francescoli again. O'Keefe. Winterburn with a little cushion header for Davis. Back to the boot there. That was a nice pass by Davis. Telling in full flight now. He's shown too much of that to Fuzi. And Fuzi's far too experienced to let a challenge like that go. It's a lovely ball by Davis. That's him off Selly.
They're just starting to nick back in again now, aren't they, Torino? Just getting their little passing movements going, taking the heat out of the game a bit.
Francescoli. Stopped very well indeed by Simpson. Up to Smith, but look at Degucci again right behind him. Well, how much longer, referee, are you going to allow Degucci to do that? On the back of Arsenal's number 9, Degucci's already got a yellow card.
I think Smith's always going to get knocked down if he comes straight down the line of the ball or with a marker. If he's going to come up to defence, he's got to try and come up more at an angle.
Adams on that far side. Goal. Two Arsenal top coaches, George Graham, Stuart Houston, deciding what needs to be done now. To be honest with you, Ron, I can't at the moment see where Arsenal are going to score a goal.
No, the suggestion is when they were playing with when the left back, particularly Winterburn, was making some work.
There's Winterburn again.
There looks something of a threat. There looks something of a momentum. It's a gamble if you're the manager. Does he stay tight at sort of 0-0 and then go into extra time and penalties, or does he gamble and, for me, bring Limpars on?
Well, what would you do?
I'd bring Limpar on, but I don't get enough of the European competition for you think. And I think I would make it. I'd bring one of the midfield players up. I think I might even bring Davis on. Put Limpar in a wide position on one side, and maybe Merson wide on the other, you know. Stick the two of them wide and try and stretch Torino defence a little bit more. Somehow or other, for me, they've got to try and get Agnoni a little bit exploited. He looks vulnerable to me.
Seaman knocking it forward towards Smith, who's having a real wrestling match again with Degucci.
So that sometimes can be the problem, the way Arsenal are playing with the three forwards all very close together. It's fairly easy for marking.
Davis with the kick. Right in there. Bolden's Adams has come up from the back. Smith another 6-footer in there. And Arsenal make this one count. Well, Adams is going in there! Well, their work is done, thinks George Graham. At least it's a decisive moment as Davis's free kick comes in.
Plenty of good movement there. Plenty of good movement from...
And Tony Adams finishing it off.
To be fair, that fellow, when he does get there, that's his speed. I mean, he's as good as anybody in the game, certainly in England, about going in on free kicks and attacking the ball.
Well, within a couple of minutes of me saying I can't see where Arsenal are going to score a goal, that lovely super slow motion, and that's how it's done. Tony Adams. Now, Arsenal they're not out of the wood yet. Because, of course, I'm sure you don't need me to remind you, should Torino score on a 1-1, they would go through on away goals. So they're still very much on the tightrope, Arsenal. Well, they want to keep this momentum going. I think that's probably what Stuart Houston and George Graham were on about.
I'll be interested to see what response there is from Torino now. Whether they can up their tempo or whether they'll just continue playing with the same mentality and just keep the same even pace.
I think they probably will, because they know that one goal is still enough for them, Ron. Adams.
Sometimes the difficulty is, Brian, you set out to play in a certain way, And it's not that easy to pick your tempo because you've got to change your midstream, which they've now got to do.
Here we are again.
Oh, I actually thought, I nearly shouted goal, you know, because I thought he was going to knock it back in the other corner. He just got a little feint touch on it. I thought he was going to get a full header on it and put it in the other corner.
Right. Good skill, knocking it forward.
It's a fair
Well,
kick,
there can't be extra time now, that's for sure. The match will finish on 90 minutes, but will it finish in Arsenal's favour? Or is there still something left behind for Torino? They get a corner, Francescoli with it. Big men up from the back. Regucci's in there, Fortunato's in there, Annoni's in there. Some serious defending to be done here by Arsenal. Francescoli curling one in wickedly. Oh, my goodness, Seaman got it and lost it. It went through his hands. But Winterburn can make a nice little clearance. And Jensen can lead the charge forward. A nod of the head. The galloping Stein now gets the ball and hits straight at Curtis. Dixon to Davis. Davis to right. Smith is in there, but so too is Galley. Just Salensi up again for Torino. Winterburn. Smith. Too firm a touch. Turned nicely. Sinigalia got the touch though. Fortunato playing it away. Jensen and Davis between them. Just keep it going. I'd rather them push forward. Seaman hitting it long. Smith will look to get on the end of this one. Does so. Can Wright collect though? Wright claimed he was held by Fortunato.
It's as if they may be bringing Delicari on, I think. Blind Torino. There is a front player.
Poggi, no, Poggi is the front player. At the moment, there's some space for Fusi. Yanni. Good play by Dixon. It was necessary too. Yanni can make those runs. That was a bad ball by Davis. Getting Poggi ready to come on, another striker. Don't they will change their formation a little bit with a greater accent on attack. But who's coming off? They're taking off Sinigalia, who's done a terrific job, mostly at the back.
That surprised me, I must say. I thought they pulled one of the markers up at the back.
Poggi, a young striker who scored 3 times this season for Torino. In a funny way, it seems to have heightened the tension, actually, Arsenal scoring, because the prize is there to be grabbed, and yet you know that one goal conceded and it's whipped away.
That's sometimes the thing, isn't it, when it's 0-0, there's that little bit of indecision. Do we go for extra time? Do we still see it through on penalties or whatever? Now everybody in the stadium, everybody on the field knows exactly what the state of play is.
1-0 to Arsenal. And obviously, if it stays that way, 1-0 on aggregate, they go through to the semi-finals. But if it finishes 1-1, then it'll be the Italians who go through on the virtue of away goals. When the aggregates are level, away goals in this competition count double. Dixon turning away. Didn't want to risk a back pass all that distance to David Seaman. Jensen. So much work in that middle of the field. Adams walks at the back, plays it forward to Smith. Smith now to Merton. It's an Arsenal throw. About 17 minutes remaining. John Jensen. Davis. Smith. Regucci at his back again. Fortunato whips the ball away from him. Or rather, Francescoli whips the ball away from him. Plays it towards Poggi. Stopped by Bold. Right versus Annoni. Fortunato still the next sweeper. Oh, some brilliant play there. Francescoli. Long-range shot, but no problems whatsoever. In fact, I think there were a couple offside. It's an offside.
But he does look dangerous, doesn't he, when he drops off and picks the ball and comes at people. A bit like Peter Beardsley does at Newcastle, doesn't it? That's probably the best comparison. He picks it up, likes running with the ball, and as you've seen tonight, willing to take a shot.
67 caps for Uruguay. Back in 1984, he was regarded, Francescoli, as the South American Footballer of the Year. But as they were saying, they reckon that over the last few weeks, his form has been his best for some time. The threat is certainly there, unless Arsenal can somehow sneak a second goal. That was out of play before Kikuchi made his clearance. 16 minutes left. Torino bench. They've got huge financial problems. They could really do with a further run in this competition. Here's Merton. Dixon waiting to pick it up on the far side. He does well. Right coming across also. Right with a deep cross towards Alan Smith. Kikuchi doesn't know where it is, and in the end puts it behind for the corner.
Yes, certainly they've looked far more impressive this half, haven't they, Arsenal? They came out with a head of steam, they drove the game. Just looked as if they'd lost the tempo a little bit, and then all of a sudden a free kick gets them back in the game.
And Adams is up there again. Mercer with this corner. Floated in there. Touchdown by Adams, but not into the path of Bold, which is what he intended. Dixon. Playing it to Winterburn. Good play there, but Davis's pass picked up by Poggi. And Chesley sweeping it away to Yarni now. This is where he can be dangerous, where he will attack Tony Adams, and he's got pace. But Adams did well. No foul, or was it? Yes, the whistle's gone. Free kick again to Torino. This is going to be so tense, this last quarter of an hour. As these maroon-shirted Italians come forward again. Free kick. Came off to Gucci. Someone shouting handball on the field there, but the referee is allowing it to go on. Silenzi is here. Bold is facing up to him, but he still gets it in there. And it was Smith in the end who got it away. A good header away. Stelly with the clearance. A superb ball by Stelly now for Wright. Stelly has gone storming into the middle. Merton is in there too. Merton will pick it up. But the Italians have got back in strength also. Jensen, is this the moment? No. Shot charge down. Now Yarni. Shot beautifully there by Dixon. Here's Davis. Merton. Winterburn's gone outside him. Davis might pick him up. Here he is. Down the line for Smith. Head down, galloping and knowing that Gucci is breathing at his back all the time.
The one thing Arsenal mustn't do now is force the game too much. Because when they do break over the halfway line, there's plenty of time and space to put the passes in now. I mean, that was a superb break before. A great ball from Stelly. He's probably hit the two best balls of the match. One in each half, picking up Ian Wright with both long passes.
So what are you saying? Arsenal in the last, well, we've got just under 15 minutes, 13 minutes, to just press but not get too excited about it, not over-press.
But don't give the ball away when they're in the top half of the field now. I was saying earlier on, fly the ball into the box to build up the pressure. They've had that. They've got the, they're produced in that sort of situation. Now's the time to make sure they're a little bit calculating.
This is Poggi. Got Dixon at the penalty. He's conceded another free kick. Dixon, in fact, having words with Poggi. Have a free kick then. Could be a problem here. Seaman. Line. Yarni with it. And it's gone wide. Gucci. Let's see if we can get one or two other scores from Europe. We got some other scores from Europe. We'll try and bring you some more scores from Europe a little later on.
Tell you what, that must sound as a warning there, you know. He's beaten Tony Adams for this one, Gucci.
Leverkusen leading 3-2 on aggregate, the Germans against the cup holders of Portugal, and Paris Saint-Germain 1-1 on the night, leading 2-1 against Real Madrid on aggregate. And I'm reminding you that Ajax and Parma play tomorrow. Adams facing up to this one with the header. Quite sure what that free kick was for, an offside.
I think that's what it must be for. It's certainly the lines to be flat.
Gold with a header. Kelly with a header. Always gone straight to Yanni. Davis got time to get it away, but didn't make a very good fist of it, actually.
I think he's tempted to knock it back, you know. And it's just Silencio threatening the back pass.
Smith chasing here. Fortunato going across. Smith chasing back on Gucci. The bite a bit for a moment there. But he finds Gally. Just over 10 minutes left. Arsenal leading 1-0 tonight, and of course on aggregate too. 6 and clear. The best defensive record in the Premiership. Let's hope he can hold for a few more minutes here. Murphy. Dixon. Back to Seaman. Arsenal have received only 2 goals in their 5 European games. Still a 10 Providence, but to a bad time to add to that now. Davis a little bit back on his heels then, and it was a poor ball. A good possession again to Torino, and that's the one thing, as Ron was saying, that they must not give the ball away. Winterburn, back to Seaman. Torres, and the flag up for an offside. Poggi hadn't got back quickly enough. Tony Adams making an elaborate conversation with the linesman as to where it should actually be taken.
I know it's difficult because of the tension and that, Brad, but if they can remain clinical, Arsenal, I'm sure they'll pick up another chance or two. Certainly Ian Wright's been making some great runs without really being spotted in from midfield. Just be a little bit clinical, don't get too excited. I know it's difficult when you appreciate the odds.
An enormous amount at stake now. Two-legged semi-final. That was a foul by Adams.
He's unlucky there, actually.
Yeah, I thought he was.
He's overstretched. I think most continental referees will always give a free kick in that situation. But he's actually won the ball there, Adam.
Fortunato with the kick. No, he's leaving it for his captain, Susi. Lucas Susi with the free kick for Torino. Trying to conjure up something here. Dixon quite happy to let David Seaman come out.
Now, the big interest, of course, as well from an English point of view, particularly a Premiership point of view, is should Arsenal go on in this competition, particularly win it, then of course it opens up another race for place in the Premiership. And also, if they do well in it, it gives more points, and maybe we'll get another place back. You know, maybe the UEFA will grant another European place to the English. Sort of George Graham before the game, and that was his sort of his message, really.
It's why people should be getting behind Arsenal tonight all around the country. It might just help their team get into Europe. Perfect. Stopped by Torres. Here's Torres. Oh, they've got a lot at this moment. Torres is amongst them. Now Winterburn. Now can Arsenal break? No, and only 7 minutes left. Oh, some space here for Fortunato. Here's the claiming offside. Winterburn was good with the challenge. And a goal kick.
I wonder when he was going to start to step into play Fortunato. I mean, he can play in midfield a fair amount now, and nothing to lose. He's got to start forcing the pace. Just a little bit concerned about the way Arsenal are handing the ball back to Torino and inviting them to attack them.
Jensen at the moment injured.
It's good to say, you've got a strong defensive record, but somehow or other, I don't know whether it's the Italian team, but they do look ominous when they come at you. You just fancy somebody, Francescoli or something, may play a little quick 1-2 with somebody, or just open up a threat. There's nothing more sickening in Europe than to go out on a last-minute goal, a last-minute away goal. I mean, everything's so empty after that. There's no way back.
I would think they might well be thinking about Martin Keown if Jensen can't come on, can't go on. And in the meantime, Ian Wright getting words from George Graham, which is passing on to Lee Dixon. So far, so good for Arsenal. 3 cheers for them as well for deciding this. We read today that with the permission of the Premiership, where they're going to revert to the numbering 1 to 11 on their shirts for the rest of the season. I just hope the other clubs now come to their senses and abandon those absurd squad numbers.
But in all
most fans will be delighted.
I know that Arsenal suggested in the first.
I know. I think the kit men up and down the country will be delighted. This is the goal again. You think you might wear 1 to 11 at Wembley?
It's an idea we've toyed with. I mean, we've actually done it this season on a couple of occasions, with the normal squad numbering, but as I say, I'm sure it was an Arsenal idea in the first place to go with the squad numbering.
Still with the names on the shirt, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
Jensen is okay, and he's down again. This time it's a free kick for Arsenal. Let's have another look at that watch. 5 minutes left. Arsenal leading 1-0. Tony Adams goal. Here looks as though he's coming on. Certain amount of animation and agitation on the bench there. The prize they feel is within their grasp. Wright was caught well offside.
Actually, Brian, he wasn't. That was Smith was offside. Wright had actually done very clear. He looked a million miles offside when the ball reached him. But he'd actually spotted the defence coming out.
Now Arsenal pulled everybody back. Torino's got everybody forward. Gregucci plays it in. And I hope Arsenal are not playing the wrong game here. Stelly battling for the ball, but doesn't get hold of it. Poggi gets it back to Fusi. Now Francescoli, he's the one we need to watch. Jensen's after him. Dixon's getting in there as well, and in the end, they get a corner. It's not over yet. So Francescoli.
Let's try to pick Gregucci up a bit excited within that last free kick.
Well, Gregucci has got a fair bit of space on the edge of the box at the moment, and so is Curl. But Adams is watching him, but it's Curl in there, and Seaman, to the delight of the Arsenal fans behind that goal, you can see them applauding. Delighted that he held on to that one.
The Arsenal bench are trying to get him to keep it for about 5 minutes now.
Look at the space here for Winterburn. And Wright's made a great run, and he wants Winterburn to play it down the line. Oh, Wright's got it back again. And will he get a corner out of it? Yes, he has. Fusi completely lost that one, and Wright was suddenly there. You can see him saying to the North Bank, come on, give us a cheer. And suddenly, it looked as though goal number 2 might be on, and Galley just shoveling it away for the corner. 3 minutes of the game left. For Arsenal to hold on to this 1-0 lead, they're going to make a substitution. John Jensen's going on. And Martin Keown, the defender, will come on.
Noticeable as well for this corner that they've not committed anything like the number of players forward.
No, Boulder stayed back, Winterburn has stayed back, Dixon has stayed back. Adams is in there, though, and Keown is on and is going to come on to the edge of the penalty area. Mercer with the kick. Galley with the catch. And presumably with the throw. Yarni is in a lot of space on that left-hand side, but Galley has hit it straight at Dixon. Fusi, Scalenci, Fortunato. It's going to be tense to the last moment here. Up goes Smith. A little knock on there. Right. And he runs straight at Degucci. Now, if that's an obstruction, I don't know what the referee will feel, whether that's the other card. It's got to be a red card. It's a red card for Degucci. The Italian's unhappy with that. And off he goes.
I have to say, Brian, I think he's definitely unlucky there, Degucci. I mean, you may have said on a number of occasions earlier in the game, when he's rattled the back of Smith's heels and so forth, the second booking was on the card. But I think there's a fair amount of Ian Wright's attacking with the ball there. I think the way Ian Wright's turn went out, it made it very difficult for Degucci to get out the way here. He's picked up and he's run straight at him now. Changes direction here, and he's finding it hard now. I think he's just stood his ground there.
Well, it's a red card for him. He's off the field. Torino are down to 10. Dixon. A long cross in there towards Selly. We're in the last minute of the game with some time to be added on. Mussi gets it forward, will he? And they're trying to play it forward. And Selly, who's already had a yellow card. And the Italians are surrounding the referee here and are saying that Selly ought to go. Well, it's much better they get on with the game. A diving header that time by Davis. Right. Can't quite pick it up. Francescoli stopped by Keown. That was an important interception. The last few seconds now. Arsenal holding on. Davis gets it clear. It's another throw. But Arsenal fans just want to see that ball in the other half of the field now. Annoni. Good long throw. Towards Fortunato. Towards Francescoli. Adams is there. But Arsenal still can't get it away. Now they can. It was Smith who hit it for Selly. There's some space now for Selly. Get forward, say the Arsenal fans. Moose is coming hard at him, and Arsenal get a throw. We're into time added on now.
Just calm it down. Just keep the ball in that corner now. No need to do anything adventurous. Just stay with the ball there.
Merson heard what you were saying, Ron. And they get a free kick.
Now play a short corner and keep it in there again. Make sure they're tight at the back. Everybody's on station. And just keep it in that corner for the next 10 minutes, if you like, if he wants to play that much overtime.
This time Adams and Bold have stayed at the back.
The ball doesn't have to be thrown anywhere now. The onus is on Torino to come and make the game.
Referee's looking at the watch. Arsenal are seconds away from a place in the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup. Will Bold play it all the way back? He will. Get rid of it, David Seaman. Nothing silly. Oh, my goodness. Up to Smith. It's a good ball he's played. Davis. Take the ball. Just keep it in play. Arsenal throw. They won't rush to take it. Overall, Arsenal's performance from
second half, much improved. A lot more fire in the belly. Have come out and played more like the way they play. You know, scored a goal from a situation that you always expect Arsenal to be dangerous from.
Nearly 2 minutes of time added on. Dutch referee looking at his lines when it's still not over yet, though. There he is! Arsenal going to the semi-finals. A 1-0 victory here. Tony Adams goal. Smiles all around Highbury. The applause of their fans. And that one goal was enough to take Arsenal into the semi-finals after a tight and a really tense night of European football here at Highbury. A great header from a great performance from a captain. And Arsenal take their places in the semi-finals. Torino far more positive and much better performance than they showed in the first leg. But Tony Adams has done it. He's down there, I can see, with Gary Newbon.
Just moved it.